kid runs out and starts crying and starts telling my sister that I locked them in the bathroom. And then my sister's like, what is wrong with you? You're such an AITA. You traumatized my kid, this and that, and starts yelling.
I completely disagree, because I don't think that you should just be okay with that. Just be like, oh, I'm never going to do it again. Now, if you don't want to do it again. Hey, Tithers. Welcome to another episode of Hither and Tither. For those of you who have already listened to our podcast, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, I'm Em.
And I'm Yo. And get ready, because it's about to get traumatizing. I know that sounds a little intense, but it's going to be okay. And what's the H&T with the summer coming up and like end of school year, like plans? What's going on?
Yeah, this end of the school year was a little bit hard for me. I'm gonna say that it was kind of hard. Typically every year it's like, kids come and go and then we start a new school year. But for some reason this one hit me really hard. It's probably because I spent more time with this group of kids than I have done before. But I gotta say, this one was pretty tough for me. As soon as I drove into work, I bawled, and then when it was time to get out of work, I bawled again. And really, it's because they were really a great group of kids. So I think it really it's going to be a really big adjustment. And then at the end of the day, I didn't get to talk to a lot of them, which makes it a little bit harder. But I also think it hurt because a lot of these kiddos are teachers. So many of them are, they tune in and they comment on our videos and our TikToks, and they're so good at, just stopping in and like saying hi. And so it's gonna be a little bit hard to, or not hard, but I'm just gonna miss having those conversations with them where they like give their input, and sometimes they judge me a little bit, but I don't know. It's fun.
I know. I was going to say that too. Like, I feel like I got to know these kids as well. Some of them, like there were some that engaged. There were some who followed our TikTok, and like, I felt like, oh, hey, how's this person or how's that person? And then you'd be like, oh, like this other person followed us. Like, did you see that? And I was like, oh yeah, well, that's this kid or whatever. So like I was, so I felt a certain connection that I've never done in the past either. So yeah, I could see how that could be a little bit hard for you, because even miles away, I felt that connection as well. So I could see how that's a little bit hard for you, but we do have.
To our young teachers, if you are listening to this episode, please comment down below and say hi. And Joji is here with us today. He wants to say hi.
Hey, Joji.
Our young teachers are also really big fans of Joji. So Joji says hello. A couple of them want to steal him from me. They have told me that
you're like, heck no.
Please do not comment that you want to take Joji from me, because he's not being given away.
We will delete those comments.
Especially because he took a shower today and he smells really good. But you know what I'm really actually looking forward to? Not now with all of the sad part, kind of, the feeling still lingers a little bit. But what I am looking forward to, and that's distracting me a little bit, is the fact that we have a trip coming up and we get to see each other.
Yes, I cannot believe it's like 3 days or less than that, I guess, when we get to see each other. We haven't seen each other since March. So that's, and then prior to that, we hadn't seen each other in 7 years. So that was crazy.
It feels like there's a lot of catching up.
Yes, there is a lot of catching up to do, even though we practically FaceTime every day. It's just not the same, like we just laugh our little booties off. We just like, it's different to be in person with someone, and time just goes way too fast. Even though we'll be together for 5 days, it's just gonna go by so fast. And we'll be in New
Yeah.
York, so that's like we already know that it's gonna be so busy. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be so hard to enjoy the time together and enjoy the time in New York. Like it's just George, it's just gonna be like, I don't know, there's just gonna be
Think
so
about
much
it
going on.
over
Huh?
the entire time and be like, 4 days left.
Yeah, literally, yeah. I'm gonna have a countdown. Instead of a countdown to when we see each other, it's like a countdown to know how much time I have to absorb. Like, but
Yeah. Well, something I'm looking forward to as well in like being able to see each other again is recording an episode where we are actually together.
yeah.
Um, because can can we pretend like we're together and I'm talking this way?
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, hey, that's
Yeah.
Hither.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll
see
I'll
me?
pretend like I'm not looking at my closet door, but
This is the wall actually for me. So, but anyway, I'm really excited to see you.
Yeah,
And
same.
it'll be really fun to be able to record an episode where we can actually
Be
look at each
together.
other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Should be kind of
I
cool.
feel
But
I feel like we've been told in the past that we have really good chemistry together.
mhm,
And so I'm just so excited for you guys to see the actual chemistry in person because it is
yeah,
actually through the roof. What?
it's a different dynamic.
It is. It is. It's actually through the roof. And we've even said it before, like when we're FaceTiming, we're like, why aren't we like this when we're recording? Like, I don't understand. Like, should we just start recording right now? Because this is so different. So I do feel like you and I just have, like, as soon as we press record and it's like, give us the countdown, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like, we're like,
Mhm.
hello, everybody. My name is, so I'm really excited to maybe get rid of that in person. And as we start getting better being in front of a camera and talking through a lens, but yeah, definitely super excited to do one in person. And then after that week in New York, which I'm not looking forward to ending that time, but I am looking forward to seeing my family after that week. Like literally the next day, I fly out to, once I get back to Nash, I fly out to Laredo, and in Texas, and I'll be with my family there for a week. My brothers will be there, and their kids and stuff. So I'm so excited to see all of them. And maybe you, if you make it out to Laredo as well, have you out for my dad's birthday and carne asada, dude. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the food. I'm so excited for the food. It's
And
just,
that's like border food.
yeah, it's like border town food. There's nothing like it. Nothing. I don't care what you say. There's nothing
I
like
can't
border
even
town
call it
food.
Mexican food because it's not
It's
Mexican food.
just food. Yeah,
It's border food.
yes, it's home. That's what it is, honestly.
Because people, no shade to people for California, but people from California are like, oh, Mexican food so good. I've had the California Mexican food and it's not all that. It's not all that.
Yeah.
So
One of my biggest debates with people all the time is burritos. I'm like, burritos are not Mexican. They're a
no,
Mexican American thing. Burritos
they
don't
say
exist.
about Taco Bell. Every episode we talk about Taco Bell. We're just so Taco
That's
Bell,
how
you
much
know
we
what? At
used
this
to
point,
go,
you
bro.
just need to sponsor us. You just need
Yeah.
to sponsor us because we talk about you all the time. So, come be Tither.
Yeah, for
Tither
reals.
Bell.
We're OGs. We used to go to Taco Bell when they had the Chihuahua that said Quiero Taco Bell. Like like we've been your number one fans for forever. Taco Bell sponsor me. Ugh.
Real.
Or please don't because girl.
Actually, no, you're right.
Yeah.
No, look,
But
like
Coke Zero,
no,
baby.
sponsor me, but don't give me free food.
Yeah, for real.
Just
Yeah.
leave it at
But Coke Zero I can do. With Coke Zero. Coke
yeah,
Zero
but
will
that's
do.
not
I'll take
Taco
it any day.
Bell. Code Zero.
You can do Alani.
Yeah, don't talk about sponsorships. We'll leave that.
We'll just leave that for later. Okay. Well, this is a good moment to end this and start with our best friend topic for today. And our best friend topic for today is AITA, which is my personal favorite, right? Because there's just something about an AITA story that is so juicy sometimes and traumatizing. So we'll go ahead and get started. So 28 male, right? The brother. And the sister is 26 female. 26 female has a son. The son is 6 years old and apparently a very active kid. 26 female asks brother, hey, can you babysit for a few hours? OP is the brother, by the way. So 28 male, that's OP. And he says, I'm not super comfortable with kids. I'm not like, and my sister knows this. But I did think like, okay, well, we'll be fine. It's just a few hours. So like, sure, bring your kid on over, right? So then kid comes on over and he's like, we're fine at the beginning. 40 minutes goes in, we're watching a movie, we're eating popcorn, we're doing this, we're doing that, like that's great. And then all of a sudden, popcorn is all over the floor, right? Like this kid just dumped the bowl in the floor. And then he says, then I start going to clean up the stuff, and all of a sudden this kid is breaking stuff in my living room, like breaking, dropping to the floor, breaking. And then goes into my bedroom, starts going through my stuff, breaking stuff. Finds a Sharpie, is now drawing all over my walls. Now starts messing with my dog. The dog reacts, but like more like a, what's the word that he used? Like a preventative bite, or like a
Like a warning?
a warning. Yes, like a warning. Like just gives them like a little bite warning. He was like, kid loses it, like he mauled him, right? He was like, but I saw the attack. Like the dog pretty much warned him to stop bothering him. And then he was like, so then I did you hear that? And then he was like, so then I grabbed the kid and I put him in the restroom. Put him in the restroom, lock him in the restroom. He was like, I'm talking to the kid the whole time. Every few minutes I check in, like, are you okay? This and that. But then he was like, then the kid starts crying, right? Like, kid starts crying. Eventually it kind of gets quiet. I'm making sure that the kid is okay. I'm talking to him, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, so once it got quiet, I went to go clean up everything that he had done, right? I went to go pick up everything. He was like, this is where maybe I messed up, like where I was AITA. I left the kid in there for an hour. I left the...
Not talking, no communication?
Well, an hour since the beginning to the end, I guess. Like,
okay.
Because he was like, I did call my sister, but she didn't answer. And then I didn't know what to do about this kid, so I kind of just locked him in the bathroom. So then his sister gets there, and then the kid runs out and starts crying and starts telling my sister that I locked them in the bathroom. And then my sister's like, what is wrong with you? You're such an AITA. You traumatized my kid, this and that, and starts yelling. And then the brother's like, bro, like, I didn't know how to handle this. Like, I don't understand. And then pretty much they were like, she's been telling everyone the story, like all our family members. Some people side with me, some people are siding with her. He was like, so AITA for locking my nephew in the bathroom for an hour. I will say, I read the comments and I found one to be like, ooh, you know what? That's a really good point. Because they were like, now, should you have locked your nephew in there for an hour? Probably not. But I almost do feel like it was the safest thing to do to where your dog had already given them a warning bite, like for safety reasons of that kid, you need to get rid of the kid type of thing. Like,
Because I'm assuming the only other room in the household was the bathroom.
that's true. That's very true. Yeah, but they were breaking stuff. Like, cause and I'm assuming, I don't know. This is a person that is just living by themselves. I'm guessing. I don't know if in a relationship or not, but I'm assuming they live by themselves, and so I can't imagine them having a super big home.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's true. He probably could have thought of a better place to put the kid in, but I also think that's a guy, and he kind of panicked.
Mm-hmm.
And he already knew that, like, the sister knew that they weren't super comfortable with taking care of kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, wow, it's a lot because I'm going to say right off the bat, um, I don't think they're a bad person for having done that. I'm gonna say no. And that is simply because I don't think there is an answer to this because
Yeah.
there was so much going on both sides. Like you said, for starters, they had already said, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with kids." So if they provided a response to something that was happening that was unnatural to you or something that you felt was wrong, you need to understand that from the beginning they had already said, I'm not comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
kids. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle these situations. So if you were like, it's fine, still go ahead and do it, and now you want to judge their unorthodox behavior, that I feel like that's more a reflection on you because you kind of were okay with it. You know, it's like if I said, "Oh, I don't know how to cook," and you were like, "Cook for me anyway." You
Mm-hmm.
know, at the end of it, you can't expect for them to have cooked like a
Gourmet. Yeah.
five-star gourmet meal because they had already told you from the very beginning that that was not going to happen, right? That they couldn't
Yeah.
provide you that. And so it's really difficult because then seeing it from, the sister's experience, obviously she's not thinking about the fact that the brother, didn't know what to do. All they're seeing is their perspective. That is my child. My child was mistreated. And forget the fact that, the child was tearing up the house, writing on my walls, with causing a problem with my dog. And Joji is here, right? I unfortunately, to some people, have become that person that, like, you are a guest in my home, but my doggo lives here. Like, this is his home. He is
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. So even if you see him as a dog and you can't understand, you know, whatever it is, fill in the blank, you can understand why my dog is acting that way. You have to understand that this is his home. He is doing what he feels comfortable with because of what he has been allowed to do. And so obviously there was a boundary that was crossed between child and dog. And while child can be told what to do, because I'm assuming they were at the age where they could
Mm-hmm.
understand,
There were 6.
communication with a dog is very different to
Different.
communicate with a child. Yeah.
When also take this with a grain of salt, because obviously this detailed was left out if it did exist. But he did say that he called his sister and his sister didn't answer.
Mm.
Now, did your sister just never call you back? Because that's on her. Like, hey, my brother's taking care of my kid.
You got to be
I
available.
should probably call back if I get a missed call from my brother. Could be an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I feel like if she did call back, that was the perfect opportunity for brother to be like, hey, by the way, this happened. This is what I felt the need to do, you know, but and maybe that was just a detail that he didn't mention or something. But so
Mhm.
again, take it with a grain of salt. But I almost feel like if that didn't happen, like if sister didn't answer her phone, like, dude, I'm taking care of your whole kid. Like, don't ask why I locked your kid in the bathroom and all of a sudden be so concerned about him when you didn't even answer your phone,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when it comes to those situations, the conversation is always very one-sided, right? Oh, he did this, she did this, and it's never fully like, well, they reacted this way because dot dot dot, right?
Right.
It's always so simple to just, and I feel like I could be guilty of that. I mean, I can't think of a situation right off at the top of my head where that happened, but sometimes we'll be in a situation where we're expressing ourselves, and as we're saying all of these things we realize kind of how dumb we sound, like, because it does tend to be a little bit selfish, and the sister might come to that conclusion later when she's having that conversation, if this hasn't already happened, but she's having a conversation with somebody, and somebody who's rational will say something like, well, what led your brother to do that? What
Yeah.
led your brother to put him into the bathroom? Well, he did A, B, and C. And it's like, okay, so let's focus on those things,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. I Obviously it's not my position to judge anybody in their parenting or whatever, especially for me, who I work with children. There are a lot of parents who have expressed that the way their children act at home is very different to how they will act somewhere else, and that could be because of exterior forces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some other, like a friend who's acting a certain way, or even the movie that they were watching. Did it by any chance say what movie they were watching?
No.
Because let's say, for example, that I'm sitting with my nephew and we're watching Sonic. I know that my nephews love Sonic. Hey, nephews, I love you guys. Um, but my nephews love Sonic. So anytime that I am with them, we're either watching Sonic or we're watching Spider-Man, we'll watch SpongeBob, something that I know they like, right? But imagine that I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, let's watch Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Well, how are they going to react if they're watching something that they have no interest to?
Right.
Or if I started playing John Wick 3 and John Wick is shooting people and throwing people down a staircase. And so it's,
Yeah. Well,
what
see, and
example were we setting at that point?
yeah, and honestly, like, yes, I agree with all of that, but I also think that we have to go back to we already know that he's not comfortable with children. So if he's not comfortable with children, we already know he has a lack of experience of being with children. So
Mhm,
to us, maybe to women and certain men, that might be a little more obvious, but
mhm.
I don't understand why. But sometimes that might not be so obvious to some other people that like, hey, you know what? It's a movie. Um, they'll have to sit through it. I even made them popcorn. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's another thing that might be a little more obvious to us, right? Like, I'm not going to hand them the whole bowl. I'm going to give them a little bowl where they can go and grab more if they'd like, because odds are they're going to spill this whole bowl, right?
Mhm.
Like, again, I think it was a lack of experience. I think there's a lot of counterparts to this, right? Like, there's a lot of
A lot of
things to
things to consider
yes,
for.
yeah, like the sister knew that the brother had a lack of experience. That's on sister. Person had lack of experience. That's on them. Like,
Mhm,
you know, kid probably knew that he could push some boundaries, so he did.
mhm,
Um, And so, you know, because kids are way smarter than we think. Like, they definitely will test you and see how much they can get away with. So sometimes people like to be like, well, teach your kid manners or you know, but sometimes kids will just push buttons. Even if they're well mannered, they will push buttons and see how far you're willing to let them. And, you know, this person just kind of reached their limit and tossed them in a restroom and locked them in there. So,
Yeah. See, I would just say, learn to recognize boundaries within yourself and
mm-hmm,
boundaries within others. Sometimes we're so focused on ourselves that we forget that other people have lives too. And just because we're related to somebody or just because we love somebody doesn't mean that we we can overstep certain boundaries. And I do think this is a difficult conversation to have because, some people will disagree with what I'm saying. Some people will think that, well, that is my brother. My brother should be able to help me in a time of need. And while yes, perhaps he should be able to, it doesn't mean he's going to, or he or she is going to do it with your expectations or the way
mm-hmm,
that you would do it, because you are two completely different people. Sometimes we listen to things and we only take what we want to see. We only take what we want to hear. And really, there is no reason for, and then I'm assuming that the brother posted this because he must be getting some backlash, from this
mm-hmm.
situation. And I think people usually will post because they want to receive some validation that, hey, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
uh, and so I don't think what he did was right, but he did the best with what he could.
yeah, I completely agree. I agree. And I think what he can learn from that is maybe stick to your boundaries. Like, if you don't want to get knowledge in how to be better with a child, then maybe say, hey, I'm not good with children. I don't feel comfortable with that. And if your sister doesn't respect that, then that's on her. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just be like, because of previous experiences or because, you know, like, I'm just not
Yeah,
comfortable with
but
that.
also take the time to do something about that, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't just live the rest of our lives being like, well, I just don't feel comfortable with that. Especially with something like children. I mean, I don't know if OP wants children, but children are going to be in your life in one way or another. I mean, clearly you have a nephew, right? So
Right.
I don't know. This is my personal opinion, and I don't think anybody has to agree with it. But just because you failed at it doesn't mean you're just like, well, that's it. I'm going
Oh,
to
I
continue
agree.
to fail
Yeah.
at it. I do think that it's like, okay, well, maybe I should spend more time with my nephew. Maybe I should get to see how my sister does it. Or because, again, it goes back to the same thing. We become so selfish and our wants and our needs that everybody else doesn't matter. And it shouldn't be that way, right? If we want to live in a happy world, if we want to have good relationships, then there does need to be some sort of compromise or connection where
Yeah.
we fill in those gaps.
Yeah. I do think, though, with children, that is a little bit different. Like, he he can make the choice whether he wants to be good with children, especially to where if he doesn't want children, I don't know. I just think in children, everyone has such a different boundary. Like me, I love children. I want to have children. So like my work revolves around children, right? Like babies, really young babies, like as young as 15 hours old. And so I love that. But, like, I just feel like there is such a stigma of like who wants babies, who doesn't. And I don't know. I think I'm just kind of running in circles because I think like he can make the choice whether he wants to be good with children or not. And even if he does come off a little selfish, like I think it's almost preventative because I don't want this to happen again. I want to have a good relationship with you, and I know that this has happened, so I kind of don't want that to happen again, you know? So, like, yes, I want to have a relationship with my sister and you, but I know that that's not, like, I already saw that that doesn't work. So let's try other matters, you know? Like,
Yeah, no, I completely disagree because I don't think that you should just be okay with that. Just be like, "Oh, I'm never
mm,
gonna do it again." Now, if you don't wanna do it again, you don't have to, right?
yeah,
But you don't give up. You're just not like, "Oh, well, no, I'm, like, really bad at that, and that's it." Because I do think that that's kind of a reflection of the person that you are, not only in that I mean, maybe in that situation it may make sense, but what about when it's something else, you know? What about when this person has a partner and going back to the cooking, oh no, I'm not good at cooking, so I'm never gonna cook for you. I
yeah,
mean, why? Because you've already built that personality of, oh, I can't do it. This is just not for me, so I'm gonna pass on it. Now, I'm not saying become an expert in everything that you do, but try to better yourself or try to explore things that maybe you're not that good at. And
yeah,
I see this I I understand that I may receive some judgment on it, but I say this because I'm a very like no excuse type person. And
mm-hmm,
whenever I go through something and it didn't go the way that I wanted it, I don't give up and just say trash it. I don't want to do this anymore. I think my perspective on that is, let's see what I can do. No, I'm not going to become perfect at it. Maybe I
yeah,
will. But it doesn't mean that I'm never going to try.
yeah. I guess I'm coming at it more from a perspective like if my brother didn't want to take care of my kid, I wouldn't force him to do anything that he doesn't want to do. Like, and I get, and I totally agree with, it shows you more like their personality and who they are. But
Uh-huh.
I want people to show me who they are, so I'm gonna let them do whatever they want to do. You know what? You don't want a relationship with your nephew? That's fine. I'm not gonna force you to do anything you don't want to do, but that
Right.
really shows me where you are.
Right. You're talking about a different thing because I was talking about the brother.
Right, right, right. So what I'm
Right.
saying
I'm
is
talking
I'm
about,
right.
sorry.
I'm saying it that I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I think the brother is fine, is because I would just not force somebody to just do something that they don't want to do,
Hmm.
for the same reason that you are saying he should probably change a certain or like try harder, is because it does really show who they are. It really
Yeah.
does. And
And
so I
from the listener's perspective, I think at that point you can say, well, I learned from that. And
yeah,
obviously I will not use this person as
yep,
a babysitter ever again because you also learned from that. But me making that choice is me learning from that experience. The brother not doing anything about it is not them learning from that experience.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. In the end, I don't think brother is an Aita. Um, is he selfish? Probably.
A little bit,
Like
but
a
what
little
man is he?
bit. Yeah. Um,
That's
and
all
I
you
think,
men,
yeah,
selfish
for
men.
real. No, like I think that's more where I'm like, well, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, and no one can force you to do anything. Which, whatever, you can stay where you want. Again, you're limiting yourself, but if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. It is what it is. But yeah, as the sister, you learned your boundaries too. Like, that
Mhm.
happened, and I knew I should have known better. I knew
Mhm.
my brother was probably not going to do a good job. Um, if this is the first time, it'll probably be the last. It will be the last time, and that's it, right? Like, I think, um, maybe teach your kid. Well, I can't even say that because kids do whatever they want when they want, and it is what it is, you know? Like,
We can
sometimes kids are gonna,
I gotta leave the kid out of it.
yeah, kids are gonna misbehave, kids are gonna behave, kids are just gonna push boundaries, and kids are aitas. Just kidding. No, they're not. But
No, they are.
sometimes,
Yes, they are.
But sometimes, like, sometimes as adults, this is something that my mom always told us, like, as adults, you cannot get in between kid fights. And if you think that your brother is acting like a kid, don't get in between kid fights. Maybe talk to your brother, be like, hey, this is how you could have handled this better. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry. I will pay for your paint. I will pay for new stuff. This is how you could have handled that better. Not, you traumatized my kid. You're an AITA. You're this, you're that, right? Like, because at that point, everyone's just going to go in defense mode and everyone's going to think they're right. So,
In a perfect world, right?
in a perfect world, yeah, where we don't have emotions and we can all just handle things well.
Yeah. So, AITA scale, I'm going to put the brother at a zero, no, at a one. At a one because he didn't have to lock him up in the bathroom. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for an
Um,
hour. For an
for
hour.
enough. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna put the brother at one. I've locked Joji in the bathroom, and like 30 seconds later, I'm like,
Yeah.
but yes, I'm gonna put brother at one. Oh, here he is. He's like, yeah, yeah, she's put me in the bathroom before, and she leaves me there, and she forgets about me. And so,
He won't let
brother,
you forget.
brother at one, and then sister seven. Sister seven for crossing boundaries.
Okay. Um, I'm going to say brother at 3 because he locked that kid in there. And
Mhm.
if I advocate for anyone, is kids. Um, I'm going to put sister at a 5.
Mhm.
She should have known better. She should have handled that better. But your kid got locked up in a restaurant.
We need to learn how to deal with consequences. We
Yes,
need
that's true.
to
That's
learn.
true.
We
That's
need
true.
to learn
Kid at 10. Okay, we're done.
that. Well, Beaners, let us know what you think. Well, where would you rate sister and where would you rate brother? Who do you think was the bigger Aita? And again, if you don't think that any of them were, or you think they both of them were, let us know. We're looking forward to chatting with you guys in our Tither chat. So don't forget to like, comment, 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 and subscribe. We'll
Yeah.
see you in our next episode. Thank you so much.
Adios.